Hi there guys, it's Janet Wakeland with Remarkably Created, and happy Monday, and a huge thanks for all of you joining me on this Facebook Live today. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the new embossing kit from Stampin' Up, and I'm going to reveal to you the first of my many 60th birthday celebration offers. I happen to turn 60 during the month of July, and we are going to celebrate it big. I decided to embrace this milestone year and just have some fun with it, spreading the love and the joy through my direct sales businesses, and then with a month of parties and celebration with my husband, because it also happens to be our 35th wedding anniversary as well during the month of July. So lots and lots of fun stuff planned. So number one thing that you want to do is make sure that you like and follow this page so that you don't miss any of the fun during the month. And then also make sure that you're subscribed to my newsletter, because a lot of the details, the fine nitty-gritty of special offers are incorporated into those newsletters with the added bonus of free tutorials for you. So July 1st, when Stampin' Up! Releases their holiday catalog, in that catalog you're going to find this new embossing kit. The kit includes what's called a powder tray. The powder tray is sized so that you can work with a standard greeting card, an A2 greeting card. So that is one that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and you could actually go a little bit bigger, but that's the most comfortable fit. It does have a twist off end right here, and you'll see in a minute just some benefits of that and why you would want that twist off end. It also has what's called an embossing buddy. An embossing buddy is a static tool. It's going to help remove the static from the tray as well as from the paper and things that you're working with. So you're going to have that embossing tool. You have a brush. This is a really nice size brush. I like the kind of a bit shorter of a handle on this brush. And then you've got some nice firm bristles. They're not stiff, but they're also not just totally useless, if that makes sense. It does, and it's nice and thick, so it does give a good brush with removing things. And then you have these great hard plastic tipped tweezers, and that's going to allow you to hold on to smaller pieces while you're heating. And there are some embossing techniques where it's better to actually take your heat tool and heat from underneath. And so by having these plastic tipped tweezers, you're going to more ably be able to use, I don't know how to say it, I'm at a loss for words, sorry about that, more easily hold on to a piece heat from underneath. Or if you happen to be working in your powder tray, you can simply just kind of place those down on the edge like that. So as a quick review of embossing, and before I show you my amazing special, let's do just that, review embossing. So embossing is a technique where you have a wet ink. So we're going to take our wet ink, and in this case, our adorable, you'll see it in just a second how adorable it is, our adorable hippo. And I'm going to put a little bit of powder on here, and I'm going to back up for a second and give you a tip. So I'm working within the tray, and a tip for you, even with the tray, is to take that embossing buddy, because anything like a tray, like your acetate, like your cardstock can indeed have some static to it. And that's just going to allow the powder, when you knock it back into the container, to release that much easier. So I should have showed you that first. So I've just gone ahead and dumped some powder out. And now I can go ahead and just shake that powder into the tray. I can release the knob, and I can just dump it back. Now I use a larger container, but our embossing powder comes in small jars like this, and that nozzle is really going to allow you to hit that with no waste. And even with the embossing buddy, you can see that there is still some powder in there. And then that's where that brush is going to come in handy, is just kind of helping to scoop all of that powder. So you're not going to have any waste. You're not going to have powder flying all over your studio and places like that. So you get the idea of using the brush for that. In addition, if for whatever reason you had a little bit of powder on your project anywhere that you didn't want to melt in just a few seconds, you would go ahead and you would do something like that. So let's just grab our tweezers. It's going to get loud for just 1 second. One of the other pieces of embossing is a heat tool. Stampin' Up's heat tool has two settings, a high and a low setting. The low setting is great when you're trying to gradually heat ribbon to get it to scrunch up. When you're working with things like vellum or acetate or shrink plastic, the high setting is great for embossing on your cardstock. And I don't know if you can see it start to get a little bit shiny. I'm gonna hold it up here for a sec. Oops, you can see that there's some shiny area. And that's what happens. The heat is melting the powder on that image. And I always like to start in one area and kind of work my way around. Doing this isn't going to dry it any faster, and it is possible that you'll miss a spot. So hopefully you heard me over that noise. And we have our sweet embossed hippo. Stampin' Up! Does sell embossing powders. There are 6 colors that you have to pick from, and they are sold in a set of 3. You have your basics, which is your clear, your neutral, and your black embossing powders, and then you have your metallics, which is your gold, your silver, and your copper. So it is sold in sets of 3. And let's just show you a couple of other things with the tool before I reveal my special offer to you. So something else, all of these tools have more than one use. You've got lots of great uses for them. So I'm going to just take a little bit of glue, probably a little bit too much. We're just going to put a little bit of glue on the sweet tutu here. And I have some of these effervescent bubbles. You saw me use this tray to put the bubbles in here the other day. Oops, and see what happens? They kind of go everywhere. But now I'm not worried about them going everywhere as I try to get them to stick where I put that adhesive down. I'm going to be able to come in here and press it into the tutu. Not worried about where they go. Same thing with sequins or any other glitter, because I have this nice tray to capture them all. And then I can use the brush or your fingers to bump it off. So she has this sweet little bubbly tutu. And now I'll grab my jar, and I can easily put all of the extras that bounced around back in. So you're not going to just use it for embossing. You're going to use it for glitter. You're going to use it for sequins. You're going to use it for holding your beads and things like that in place. Look at that fun tutu. Isn't that fun? Little 3-dimensional tutu. Something else that this embossing buddy actually gets tons and tons of use of in my stamp studio is there are times when you have something and maybe you're not going to use liquid glue, or maybe even if you are, but maybe you also just prefer to use your Seal Plus. The problem is that with some of the types of adhesives, even some of the adhesive sheets, you end up with that spider webbing of adhesive. Can you see that? And when you go ahead and let's flip that piece of paper over and put that down, now you have that stickiness showing through, and then also things that are gonna stick there. Okay, you don't want to. If you take your embossing buddy and tap over it, it negates the stickiness. So it's no longer sticky and things aren't gonna stick to it. And if you rub it just a little bit, it also breaks up that fibers. So that's a good way of releasing the stickiness. The same thing if you wanna keep working on your paper. Maybe you've been kind of playing around and on a piece of background paper and you've got all these little nubbies and you don't wanna throw a whole sheet away. Just pounce on it a few times and now it's no longer sticky and nothing will stick to it, okay? So let's take a look at, oh, one other thing. You can also just take scrap paper at any time if you want to protect the surface of this tray, depending on, you know, the glues and what it is that you're using. And you can always just put a little bit of scrap paper down inside of your tray. So just for a little bit of fun, there's a little birthday card for you. I have a little bit of a theme happening with turquoise and silver and teal and Coastal Cabana and pool party for my birthday celebration. So I thought we'd have a little bit of fun, and you've got your little embossed hippo because we have to have a stamp sample, right? So for my 60th birthday, we're launching it with this embossing kit. You'll have this box from Stampin' Up. And inside this box, you are going to find your embossing tray. You're going to have your brush. You're going to have your tweezers. You're going to have your embossing buddy. You'll have a Versamark pad, a refill, because you should always buy a refill when you're buying your inks and things. And you're going to have all 6 of the powders. And they'll be packaged a little nicer. Let's just get that. So you'll have all 6 of the powders. This would normally be a $78 purchase before tax and shipping. In honor of my 60th birthday, it's going to be a $60 purchase. And because it's celebration, it will also include a celebration item. And because it's a birthday, what's a birthday without a favorite? Couple of favors. So a couple of my favorite things to emboss on will be in the box. You'll have the opportunity to add the heat tool on and qualify for a second celebration item. So that is the first party gift that I have for you in honor of my 60th birthday. You're going to love this toolkit. And if you have any questions at all about embossing, any questions about the products, make sure that you ask them below, but also make sure that you're on my newsletter for all of the finite details on this box. And sales of this and my offer will kick in on July 1st. Thanks, guys.